Welcome back to YouTube channel Chemistry Live UGPG. Today we'll talk about Introduction to Inorganic Chemistry Lecture 1. So I have a simple message. Please think for innovation, be creative, learn everywhere, anytime and help to learn others. So today we will be talking about the prerequisite course Introduction to Inorganic Chemistry Lecture 1. So while talking about the inorganic chemistry, we must know about the atomic structure, electronic nature of the atom, quantum mechanics, atomic orbitals, electronic configuration of atom, periodic table. So when we talk about atomic structure, we must know about the nucleus, electrons, and atomic number. And while talking about electronic nature of the atom, then we should know the force of attraction that holds the electrons and the protons, neutrons together. Then dual nature of matter, Heisenberg uncertainty principle. While talking the quantum mechanics, we should know the Schrödinger equation, quantum numbers. Then while talking about atomic numbers, we must know orbitals, degenerate orbitals, and the maximum capacity of a orbital. While talking about electronic configuration, we must know the Pauli exclusion principle, Abba's principle, N plus L rule, and Hund's rule. And when we talk about the periodic table, we must know how many blocks are there and the valential influence on it. So here is the how the atom look like. So atom has a nucleus where you can find protons and neutrons, and at the periphery you can find the electrons. So the electrostatic attraction, a positively charged nucleus. So this nucleus is positively charged, exerts an attractive pull on the negatively charged electrons on the outer electrons, similar to the planet's revolve around the sun. So the potential energy, an electron near the nucleus is strongly attracted, having a low potential energy, and a distant electron is loosely held, so it would have high potential energy. So let's define what an atom is. So atom has a central nucleus which is surrounded by one or more orbital electrons. So at the center of the atom you have a nucleus which contains proton as well as neutron. So proton is positively charged and neutron is electrically neutral. So for example, hydrogen atom, it has one electron in its outermost orbital. For helium, you will have two electrons in its outermost orbital. So electrons are negatively charged particles, and mass of electron is 1 by 1836, that of a proton. So what is atomic number? That is equivalent to number of protons or number of electrons present in an atom. And while talking about the Nature's law, so there exists a force of attraction between the positively charged nucleus and negatively charged electron residing in the outermost orbital of the orbit of the atom. So just like planets revolving around the sun, that is holds them by the electrostatic force of attraction. So an electron near to the nucleus is strongly attracted by the nucleus and has a low potential energy. So here you can have a flavor of potential energy surface. So here is the central nucleus. So the electron near to it has a low potential energy, and the electrons at a distance far from the nucleus, from this nucleus, it will have a high potential energy. So the electron distant from the nucleus is less firmly held and has a high potential energy. So suppose an atom carbon, it will lose electron, giving rise to a positively charged carbon. So it is electron deficient. So when the atom carbon will accept one electron, it will give negatively charged species that is electronically rich. So Bohr and Rutherford describes an atom as a central nucleus surrounded by electrons in certain orbits. So thus electron is considered as a particle. So here we can have a flavor about classical model and quantum model. So basically Bohr and Rutherford gave the classical model, and Schrödinger and Heisenberg gave the quantum model. So Bohr and Rutherford gave the classical mechanics, and Schrödinger and Heisenberg gave wave mechanics. So the wave mechanics mostly deal with wave particle dual nature. So we all know light passes in wave manner. So when the light with certain frequency fall on a metal surface, it ejects electrons. So the photons will transfer its energy to the electron. So the electrons will be ejected from the metal surface. So light will fall on the metal surface and it will eject the electron from the metal surface. So electron can also behave as waves. So that is known as a photoelectric effect. So when the light of certain frequency will strike the metal surface, this metal surface, so beyond this threshold frequency, the electrons will be ejected from the metal surface. So this is Einstein's photoelectric equation, h nu equal to h nu 0 plus half mv square. So where v is the velocity of electron. However, the diffraction and interference of light can only be explained by assuming that light behaves as waves. So experimental evidence for wave nature of electron was obtained when a stream of electron passed through a thin metal foil where the diffraction rings were observed photographically. And the electron diffraction is a powerful tool in determining the molecular structure. Then another scientist, de Broglie, suggested that wave and particle, that is dual nature of the matter or electron. So the equation is lambda equal to h upon p or lambda equal to h upon mb. So since wave nature is established, the wave mechanics or quantum mechanics concept is introduced. So wave mechanics is a mean of studying the buildup of electron cells in atoms and the shape of orbitals occupied by the electrons. So electron can have mass and velocity that we know from photoelectric effect. So here you can have pictorially, you can see the light falling on the metal surface and it will eject electron, that is photoelectric effect. Then you can have matter possess both dual nature, that is the de Broglie hypothesis, and wave evidence, that is the electron diffraction. So what happens here? A stream of electrons passing through a thin metal foil producing diffraction rings. So it is only possible if the electron will behave as waves. So Heisenberg interested in knowing the position of electron and its velocity. So the Heisenberg's equation is delta V into delta x greater than equal to h upon 4 pi m. So the Heisenberg states that it is impossible to measure the position and velocity of an electron with 100% accuracy. So for example, bullet train of USA or Japan, where you cannot find the position and its position and time cannot be measured at any point. So then the concept of electron in a particular orbit where the position and velocity are known exactly led to the probability of finding an electron in an orbit at a particular position or volume of space. So you can see the how the bullet train look like. So if you freeze the time to capture the exact location of the train, the speed becomes 0. Similarly, if we measure the train moving at top speed, it becomes blur, or pinpointing its exact location in space is impossible. Similarly, the Schrödinger wave equation provides a satisfactory description of an atom in these terms. So the solution to the wave equation is called a wave function, that is symbol psi. So the Schrödinger wave equation is del square psi plus 8 pi square m upon s square e minus b psi equal to 0. So if you take the square of the wave function, that is psi square, it is the probability of finding an electron at a point in space whose coordinates are x, y, z. So here you can have this Schrödinger wave equation. We can write in short h psi equal to e psi, where h is the Hamiltonian, and the wave function psi, that is to map the probabilistic architecture of an atom. Similarly, if you take the psi square, that represents the physical probability of finding an electron at a specific spatial coordinate. So I would like to acknowledge Notebook LLM for making some slides for my notes for better understanding of my students. So please subscribe to our channel Chemistry Live UGPG. This is the channel for class 11th and 12th student Foundation Chemistry AV. So this is a simple step towards e-learning, making life better. Thank you all for learning.